Are you ready for another week? This week, we have a lot of exciting things that I want to do with you. So I hope that you're ready to go and you had a great weekend. All right, well, let's start reading our message and see if we can find any of our word rules, okay? Good morning, boys and girls. This week, we will talk about maps. What is a map? What does it do for us? Can you find some and see what your map does? Love, Mrs. Peters. Wow, there's lots going on in there. Lots of questions, lots of things to think about. And today I want you to find some vowel rules if you're at home and watching this, but I also want you to look for capitals and punctuation. And let's just remind ourselves what the capitals and punctuation are so that when we write our own sentences, we know what to add, okay? So let's make sure that I've got all my correct capitals in the right place. Right at the beginning, we start with a capital or an uppercase G. Is that correct? Yep, sure is, because the beginning of a sentence is always super important. So we're always starting with an uppercase or capital letter. All right. Good morning. Oh, I see an ing that we like. Boys and girls. After that sentence, there's something there. Do you remember what it's called? It's been so long. We have a period. That's right. We ended our sentence. We ended our thought. So we have to show it with a mark, and that's a period. This, we're starting with another uppercase capital letter. This week, we will talk about maps. Another punctuation. Remember, it doesn't have to be at the end of the page. It can also be in the middle of the page. Depends where our sentence ends. I might end it here, but if you were writing, it might be in a different spot, and that's okay too. After a period, we always start with an uppercase capital letter again. What is a map? And we're asking a question. So what is this one called here? A question mark. And after punctuation, we always start with a capital letter again. What does it do for us? Then we have another question mark because we're asking another question for us. And we start with another capital. Can you find some and see what your map does? Another question mark. What if I said something like, this is so much fun? What kind of punctuation would I put after that? Do you remember what it's called? It might be an exclamation mark, like this. Exclamation mark. Do you remember anything else that we've used sometimes? When somebody says, I like that, we use those air quotations. And when we write that down, we sometimes will go like this. Quotation marks. Only when somebody is speaking, that's when we use those. All right? Love, Mrs. Peters. Any punctuation there? Nope. We didn't have any there, and that's okay too. All right, so we need to answer our questions today and see if you know about maps. This week, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about what's on a map. And have you made one? Who's made one before? I bet you've tried to make some treasure maps or maybe a map of something else at home. So this week, I really want you to show me what kind of maps you're making, all right? What is a map? What does a map do for us? A map shows us a picture of something and explains where everything is in it. It might be a place, it could be a playground, it could be a house. There's all kinds of different maps. Can you find some? Are there any maps in your house? You might be able to find some maps on Epic and in some books. Sometimes you can find them in the back of a book or the front of a book. If your story has a map, they might even draw it out for you so you can imagine. What does your map do? You might even find a map book, and that's what we sometimes use when we're traveling. Or we might find a map app on our phone so that we can find our way to different places. And sometimes I've used that to find your homes or to find a friend's home. All right, so I'm going to bring out my big poster today of a map, and we're going to learn a little bit